Awesome. Welcome to, all right, we're going to get into some live feed questions. First one.
So my first one, you're a professional BMX racer as a teenager.
Yes.
That would have been pretty cool.
That was awesome. Great question.
So what sort of things did you do
Explanation. Yeah.
as a kid? I'm going to keep going.
When I first started BMX, I was about 4 years old, and I took my two-wheeler bike that my parents gave me at the age of 2, which I was riding a two-wheeler by the age of 3. And by the age of 4, I was a little bit of a rebel, and I've continued to be a rebel a little bit throughout my entire life. And I would take my two-wheeler bike and ride it to the bottom of the street where my good friend Robbie was riding over these dirt jumps, and I loved what he was doing. I wanted to do more of it. It looked a little bit more active and really cool compared to what I was doing. So I wanted a more extreme sport at the age of about 4, and started BMXing at the age of 4.
So when you were racing and stuff, were you?
He was busy every weekend. So he knows because he's read the answers to these questions. Every weekend I was BMXing with my dad. My parents were a strong support team and my main backing. I'm so grateful for them, but they helped, no buts, they helped me pave the way and ensure that I made it to the levels that I did throughout BMX in the Canadian National Championships and the World Championships. So I mean, I owe it to my parents and the time that they gave helping me BMX, and at such a young age to believe in me at that time was amazing. Thanks, David. Thanks, Christine. Hi, you guys.
So at what point did you start winning titles?
So I started winning titles. I know this sounds really weird. At the age of 7, I became the Canadian National Champion of BMX. So that was amazing. And at the age of 13, I became a world champion. So I became 8th best in the world at the age of 13.
You went to Europe.
I did.
As a young teenager.
I did. So when I was 14, I competed in the World Championships in England. It was an amazing experience. My dad and I got flown over there by our sponsor. At the time was Haro, which was a huge sponsorship in BMX at the time. They were one of the top 5 companies in the world, and it was an absolutely amazing experience. I loved it. Again, came up in the placement of top in the world, and left feeling the pressure of the sport. So I love the sport, but at that time when I was about 15, I was really feeling a lot of pressure of continuing to be on the top of my game moving forward. So it was pushing me away from the sport more than anything. I was putting too much pressure on myself, which was a good lesson to learn. So
by then you started to graduate from high school and those sorts of things?
Yeah, the regular sort of things.
Just the regular sort of things, and then you went to university. So which university
Yes.
did you go to as out of school?
I went to YU, York University, so strong supporter of York and the YU team, and that's what helped me get here in beautiful Australia. We're watching the sunset overlooking an awesome river right now. We're in Brisbane. It's so beautiful. And York University taught me so much. I got my kinesiology degree from there, and also taught me a lot of discipline, and being on the basketball team, that was like a great life experience, and the people I met from being on that team carried through for the rest of my life. So they're still my best friends.
So you're very heavily involved in sport as well out of university.
Yes, yes.
So what were the main aspects that you followed? You did basketball, but what else did you do?
I did do basketball. Hey, Michael. I just realized one of my favorite people that we watch basketball all the time with together, Michael Dite, is on watching, and thank you. I love you. Sorry, so what else did I...
So what else did you do? You were basketball, you went basketball nuts.
Oh, yes, okay. So during playing basketball, I also wakeboarded and snowboarded. Those are my other favorite sports. I love snowboarding and wakeboarding. I was always more on the extreme side. And I would say that was almost like my love, my passion, and my desire fell into the wakeboarding and snowboarding side as well. But I love being on the team. So those two combined were like the best thing. Like they were such a great thing to do in the off season. So I loved it.
And off season, I could imagine you disappeared when it went snowboarding though. You would have disappeared, right? See you.
I did a little bit. My coach, and he might be watching this, was like, Megan, better not break your wrist this season. Like, he's like, be careful, you're not snowboarding this year. And I was like, okay, all right, don't worry. And I would always go snowboarding during the off season. I would get back, and he was like, I saw that you were snowboarding with your parents. I'm like, well, it's what I love. It's what I love. I'm sorry.
So wakeboarding was just something you took up during the season because it was just a bit of fun and get out behind a boat.
Wakeboarding is my favorite sport, so I absolutely love wakeboarding. Out of all the sports that I've tried and done, I feel really free wakeboarding. I love it. I love the boat experience. I want to own my own camp where kids can come and just do wakeboarding when I'm older. I'll just have like a wicked wakeboarding boat and people who can just go and learn wakeboarding. I love wakeboarding. It's like one of my favorite things. So it's more of a hobby rather than a sport to me. I know I have competed in it, but it's just pure fun. I love it.
So moving on, you graduated out of university.
Yes.
And you went and found your feet and did a few other things. So you ended up taking up professional basketball at some point. So was that a gradual thing, or was that something that you were guided straight to?
That's a great question. Hey you guys, hey Lewis, Peter, Tammy, thank you guys so much for joining in. Good to see you guys. I would say that coming to play professional basketball was not even in the cards. Even surrounding myself by some of the most positive people that you could imagine, they were like, Meg, maybe not put like that you're gonna get paid to play basketball on your radar. I mean, we know you're good, but it's a really hard thing to, achieve. And I was over in LA writing my thesis for my master's, and I got a call that my other best friend had showed videotape and that we could potentially, which she was playing in WA already, and that was an opportunity to go and play basketball with her. So grateful for Jill, who helped me get to that level, and that just kind of fell into my lap. Probably using some forms of law of attraction and knowing that I could do it. Like deep down I knew I could do it, but I wasn't even striving to do that. It seemed too far out of my reach, and then it still came, so very lucky.
So just going back a little bit, to make some money, what did you do? Like on the list we've got you as an accredited real estate and commercial agent and stuff, so that was just an off thing to do, or was that to make a bit of cash, or what? So selling property?
Good question. I've been selling real estate since the age of about 13 or 14. My dad threw me into open house and said, can you watch this open house, because he owned his own real estate company. And I was at the main open house, and he went out and showed the other properties, and I would have to just kind of wait there until he got back. It was like, Saturday and Sunday afternoons. It was just in his run of things that we had to do together while I was probably taking me my BMX races. And during that time, at one point when I was about 15, maybe even younger, my dad has been like he was pushing it under the rug for a long time before he slid the credit card across the table one night when it was like 11 p.m. at night, and he was like, okay, Meg, here you go, to pay for the real estate course, because my mom did not want me to do real estate because she was paying so much for my kinesiology degree and everything else that came along with university, so many expenses. And when I was 13 or 14, so going back, I asked my dad, how much would it be if I was a licensed real estate agent and I was showing these people through the open houses? And he was like, well, about $2 or $3 grand. And at that point he was paying me $10 an hour, and I was making like per 2 hours one sale. And I was like, okay, I need to become a real estate agent. So, to cut a long story short, yes, it was in the off season of university.
Just the off season.
Just
But
in the
then
off
you'd help
season,
him on
so
the
I was a beer
weekends as
cart
well?
girl after, actually. Pardon?
Beer cart girl.
Beer cart girl, yeah, I love golfing, so I became a beer cart girl so that I could golf, eat in the halfway hut, and get free golf from my best friends and I.
That sounded like a bit of fun. That
That
was
was a lot of fun.
That was just fun, wasn't it?
For sure.
So you competed in competition in the US for half pipe, for snowboarding and
Snowboarding,
for
yeah.
wake as well.
Wakeboarding, I competed in wake stock, which is the biggest Canadian competition yet. It was amazing.
So nothing in the US for wakeboarding? Did you
No,
do
just snowboarding.
just snowboarding. Any Olympic competitions? Did you get that far with it?
No. This is a heartbreak for me though, it's a pretty good one. I'll tell you this one is that the year that, and my basketball coach always was like, why did you do that? But basketball, I mean, quitting BMX led me to basketball, and I was always so grateful of my university experience, and it wouldn't have been the same doing BMX, so I'm so happy I did basketball to be in that team environment. But the year after I quit BMX to go do basketball, BMX made it to the Olympics, and I was ranked #1 in Canada. So for 7 years leading up to that.
So you took BMX to the Olympics, did you?
The year before I quit.
The year before you quit?
No, so the year after I quit, BMX went into the Olympics. So I've never been to the Olympics now.
Why? That would have been tough. That was a tough thing.
No, it was good. I'm very grateful because I got to play basketball and I met amazing people, and
Yeah.
truly believe everything just like flows exactly how it's meant to. But I mean, we could look at it as a lesson, for sure, rather than tough being a lesson, for sure.
So looking forward, you ended up with a Masters for Education in Coaching Science
Yes.
and Biomechanics. Do you want to explain a little bit about what you achieved with that? That's led you to other things as well, including being a master trainer for, like master physical trainer as well.
Yes, I guess the biggest thing behind biomechanics is the study of how the human body moves and behaves, and then incorporating that into movement patterns that we can actually train in the gym and repeat on a repetitive basis, that we build the stamina and we build that skill base and that the connection, between neurotransmitters, that every time that you're doing that skill, you can repeat it at a faster, greater intensity and level. So what I learned through kinesiology led me to what I'm doing today in every aspect of my life. So I'm so grateful for it.
So moving on, you decided with Nicole to come to Australia, did you? Was it a gradual thing, or was it just you were touring around and said, right, we're going?
Okay, well, great question. Is that a question or a statement?
Oh, it's a bit of both, but we get to, there are other things and I want to come back, but I just want to...
No, we can go into that. So I was already in Australia. I played a year of professional basketball, and then Nicole, my best friend, came and lived with me out here, and it was absolutely amazing. I was so grateful that I got to have a best friend living with me, and she's still out here. She's engaged and loving life out in Australia, so I'm really lucky.
So a lot of your qualifications had to be endorsed for Australia, is that right? Like you need to do Cert 3, Cert 4 certificates so that there was a cross-bridge in some form. Would that be a fair comment for that?
No, absolutely. No, that's a great comment. So with my Cert 3, Cert 4, I had to do recertifications before I went into lecturing for them. So those are the qualifications that I gave the students I was lecturing at Australian Institute of Fitness almost 5 years ago now, which is a Cert 3, a Cert 4, exercise sports science accreditation, massage therapy, remedial massage, as well as business. And all of those I had to become re-accredited in the Australian branch, but I found it a very easy transition coming from the Canadian education system. So I didn't have a problem integrating into the Australian-based certification and was able to lecture in it quite well. I found my background very suitable for it, so it was great.
So,
Thank you for asking.
that's all right. You're so coming to Australia, you landed in a couple of senior training roles for particular companies for training personal trainers. What sort of things were you involved with? So, like I've got down here executive PT and a couple others, but there were a few others that you were fairly heavily involved with.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the main things, I guess the biggest thing is that I've always been branching off and always being a bit of an entrepreneur and aspired to create something of my own, and I think a lot of us have that deep down, and we probably are always thinking about actioning things and doing things and having those visions and creating side businesses, and that's exactly what I did when I first moved to Brisbane. And one of them was Executive PT, which is a PT business that connects mobile PTs with people that are traveling overseas, and if they needed a trainer that they could feel comfortable with when they're traveling internationally, that was one of the businesses that we ran. And being a certified trainer, I had a lot of PTs that were graduating that were really perfect for this role, and we found a great fit between them and the client. So it was a great side business while I was developing my own thoughts around Buzzville, my company that I'm running now.
We're at Buzzville now, aren't we?
Oh goodness.
We're at Buzzville. What's Buzzville?
It's your best friend in fitness and health and wellness across the world globally. And we're going to make it easier for you to train, easier for you to stay healthy, and we're going to be the interconnection between people, customers, and studios and PTs and wellness centers that is almost like an Airbnb or an Uber or a Hotels.com in the health and wellness realm. And we're going to fill the gap between PTs and studios or Cert 3, Cert 4s that are getting out of their graduation and maybe not sure where they're going to go after that graduation because they want to go into a fitness first, or they want to start their own gym, or they want to start their own studio, but a majority actually drop off and get out of the fitness studio or fitness career. So we want to be the gap that fills that dropout rate and ensure that people are actually continuing to fulfill their destiny in fitness, health, and wellness, as well as making it easier for customers to train globally. So I think we're going to change, well, I know we will. We're going to Hong Kong next week to present on an international platform on how we're going to change the way that people look at fitness, people look at the fitness industry, and the way that people actually can approach health and wellness at a global level. So it's exciting.
So Megan, what's Crank It? What's Crank It?
Crank it. We're going to crank it up. Crank It is suspension training straps that hang from the ceiling. The owner, Owen, has been a great mentor of mine and an amazing person, friend. I'm one of his, I'm his lead ambassador and one of his master coaches, and have worked with him for the past 3 years, and he's absolutely amazing. He's been so amazing to me and given me lots of advice on the offside, and he'll be one of the prime ways or things that we have on Buzzville that we're selling to all of our PTs and studios. And it was a great training app that I had. When I say app, an application, fitness tool that I had training for Ninja Warrior.
So just going back a bit, you've got to push on to being on movies, and they're like, what have you done? What have you done? You've done a lot of work behind the scenes for people, stunt doubles, stunt work, coming up very soon to be in another movie that was produced down the Gold Coast.
I haven't been in too many movies. The recent one that I'm going to be in, it will be the biggest blockbuster that I'm in, and it's only a small role, but it's amazing. I'm very grateful that I'm in it. Some amazing actors and actresses are in it, and if I said who are in it, you'd know which movie it is right away. I've been the lead stunt double in Beneath the Blue, a movie shot in LA, and have had incredible luck and fortune when it comes to being in some TV shows.
You've done well with the TV shows. We won't mention those ones then. But
Okay.
your family's been a huge influence in this. We've talked about your dad and helping you with real estate. What's other things like? Your mum's always around. You're always having a chat with her.
Yes, absolutely. I'd say my parents have been my biggest influence in my life thus far, and I'm very grateful for that. But it doesn't have to be your parents. It could be anybody that's in your life that could have an awesome influence like they've had on me. I would say the biggest thing that I look back on and realize what they've done has been they've always believed and always trusted. I mean, trust is such a huge thing. It's almost like it's hard to find some nowadays for people to actually like trust in what you're dreaming of when you are dreaming of things that are really, really big, that even the people that are trusting that you'll accomplish them can't even imagine doing it for themselves. That can be a big thing. I mean, a stat I love to give is that over 50% of the people in the NBA, their dads played in the NBA. So when you grow up knowing that your dad played in the NBA, you have a fairly good chance of believing that you could be in the NBA. And I was fortunate enough that I had my dad, who was a Canadian record holder, still to this day, because they don't run the 50-meter hurdles anymore, be someone that inspired me like that and allowed me to get to this point. So yeah, I guess the biggest thing is that having the belief in yourself more than even having a belief from anybody else has helped me in the last 5 years for sure, is that I've had to believe in myself truly. And that just happens by sitting with yourself, journaling, writing, really, really concentrating on what you really truly want. And then after you know what you really truly want, you're the only person that can actually go and get it. So you just need to go and get it for yourself.
Just moving on, your parents are fairly busy. They're active. They may be retired, but they're not necessarily retired. They remind me of my father. They don't retire. They keep busy.
Yeah, they both of them have retired last year. So congratulations, Deb and Dave. And even though they've retired, they're still running their own businesses and they're going really, really hard. Probably harder than they did when they retired. So I guess I'm really lucky that I've been around two individuals that have always loved what they do, and even though that they don't have to work anymore and they're retired, they're working more hours than when they weren't retired. So it just goes to show the environment that I was raised in. So yeah, I'm appreciative of that. I think that you guys should retire if you're watching this, but I also love that you love what you're doing, so just keep doing what you love. I love it.
So just finishing off, just a few other influences on your life. What sort of things that have influenced how you've approached things, like particular things like Simon Sinek, for example, or he's a Canadian, isn't he? Simon Sinek?
He's not.
He's not a Canadian?
No.
I thought he was. I remember seeing a video and he was in Canada. So.
Yeah, no, he's done interviews in Canada. I don't think he is Canadian though. I haven't done a biography check.
No, I didn't either. So, my bad.
There you go. No,
That's
I don't
wrong.
know. Maybe he is. Celine Dion is. That's for damn sure. Shania Twain influences. So people that have inspired me.
Yeah.
My inspirations have changed over the years, and I believe that no matter which direction you're going in, they should waver and they should change. My first inspiration when I was younger was Michael Jordan. He was an amazing inspiration. He always spoke from the heart.
Did you meet him?
I have met Michael Jordan, yeah. Did you know that I did?
No.
Oh, I have. I met Michael Jordan in Vegas, and I was only in Vegas for one night, and I got to Vegas, and Nicole, my best friend who's living with me, or living over here now, and I were getting ready, and we'd been together for 6 months, and we decided to take until 11 p.m. to get ready in the hotel room. We were just having such a good time catching up because we were in Vegas and excited. that we stayed until 11 p.m., but it was meant to be the second that we went down the elevator in Vegas, our very first night that we arrived after getting ready, the hotel doors opened and there was a big, huge crowd of people, and like right away I could see that Michael Jordan was in the middle of them. And I looked at her and she already knew. I'm like, I'll be back. And she was like, yeah, cool. And I knew that she understood. It was my idol. I had to go meet him. So I ran up and there was two really like big bodyguards, like big guys. And they were like, whoa, 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 no, no, no. And they were like all surrounding him. He was just walking through the casino. No one was letting anybody in. And I was like, oh, okay, sorry. I just wanted to say hi to Michael. And he kind of glanced, like I was on the sideline of it, and he kind of glanced back and he was like, okay, yeah, let her in. I had just gotten ready, dressed up, you know, he had his hoop earring in, he was looking the part. Who he was with was not his wife, but I mean, there was lots of people around. I'm not saying that there was anything going on, but he was balling, he had his crew there. And I told him about the story of why I was going to Australia, was to go and play semi-professional basketball, and that my initials were MJ, and I was wearing the number 23, which when I got to Australia, I actually had to be the number 32 because there was no 23. But Hutley and my good friends from home liked it because everything in Australia is backwards, so that worked out well. And
is that a Canadian joke?
Yes.
That's a Canadian joke. Everything's backwards.
Absolutely.
Well, do you know we say the same thing though, don't you?
No. Everything in Canada is backwards too?
Yeah, it's upside down.
All right. Okay. So, yeah,
So
and
Michael
then I went
was,
on and I met him and I gave him my business card. I told him why I was there, and he said, thank you, this has made my trip to Las Vegas. Like, I'm so glad I inspired you. And then, yeah, took my card and that was it.
Pets. You love dogs.
I do love dogs.
You had and cats.
And cats, yes, I do.
And you grew up with them, but you had a dog in Brisbane when you first came here, but he died or something. Is that right? Or?
Yes, he did. He died from old age recently, actually. But I love rescuing dogs, and I've grown up with cats and dogs my whole life. Like 2 dogs and 2 cats, pretty much always. My first cat was named Pfeiffer. My first dog was named Dougal. It was a Scottish Terrier, and then since then we've had some amazing dogs and cats throughout my life, and animals are a huge part of my life. I think they're like such an important aspect to love and things within a family. I think back, and I don't have a dog right now, and it's the weirdest time. Like, I know I'm gonna rescue another dog, but I'm traveling a lot due to business in Buzzville, but I know that I have to get another animal because it's so weird not having one. They're just so loving, amazing, wicked companions and partners.
So I'm going to give you the biggest clanger of the lot.
Okay.
So the biggest clanger is, what made you do Ninja Warrior? What made you do it? What was the driver?
Good music. Drake just started playing in the background, so I'm just gonna like roll that out.
That was a big test.
This is what you do when you don't know the answer right away.
That's alright. What was the big driver?
What made me apply to Ninja Warrior was I always wanted to be on the show. I always thought that I could be, and I always knew that I would be, and I always wanted to do something that extreme. And I love TV, and I love movies, and I love that realm, and that was my favorite out of any reality TV show. There's not one other reality TV show that I'd rather be on more than American Ninja Warrior, or in this case Australian Ninja Warrior. It's like top of the top, the best TV shows that you could be on. I absolutely, I was like, yes, I need to be on this.
So how long did you need to prepare and for that series, for this current series that's coming out? How long did you have to prepare for it?
We were given 2 months, but I mean, I think all the athletes and all the competitors that are on Australian Ninja Warrior, you're going to see the top athletes coming from across Australia, and they're going to be colliding on a master stage of insane obstacles that would be, they're flown in from the US. It's the most expensive reality TV show that Australia has ever done. So on top of, I didn't even know any of that. It's just the pinnacle of physical test, and I love testing myself. I love doing things that get me out of my comfort zone. So, and I understand that sounds very weird when I say it even out loud. That sounds strange, but well,
you're way out of your comfort zone. I get that.
Even right now, this is everything's confronting, right? Like everything that you do is going to push you a bit, and it's going to make you feel certain adrenaline rushes, etc., etc. And unless you do it, you'll never know. So I always say, you only live it once, so just go for it. Just like keep experiencing life to the fullest. Experience every high, low, and the most important thing is don't worry about what other people think of you. And I'm sure that sounds cliche, but it's a lot harder than anyone else, could think when you're actually going out and doing something that you believe in, because it can be very different what other people think is normal. So just keep going. That's huge.
We done?
We're done.
We're done?
I think so. Is there anything else you want?
No, just Ninja. Just, Ninja's a big thing. Like, as a spectator, Ninja, someone that can be inspiring for people. Big time. Big time.
Cool. All right, who do we have on here? We've got Marco, we've got Dan, we've got David, we've got Trista, we've got a few people joining us. So I guess one of the biggest things is how you would become a ninja warrior. What it would be the biggest advice that I would give you moving forward. And Michael and I are going to do a top 5 things that you should do, and I'll have a whiteboard behind me of what you could do to become a ninja warrior and what you could do to become, a character, if you will, a personality on the next reality TV show that you want to get on. So if there's a reality TV show that you're thinking of, we're going to go through some steps on how to do that or before Ninja Warrior comes out. So I would love to give you tips on that, love to tell you how I got on, because it's no secret. So I would love to tell you guys how to get on Ninja Warrior when it comes to next year, which will actually be this year. And the auditions will be taking place in October, and I'll go through the auditions and what you need to do, but the biggest thing is just getting through to those auditions, and then you just let the rest roll from there, and you just be yourself. That's the biggest thing when you get into any audition. So love to tell you about that. We'll get into the top ways, and we'll do a live feed on that next week.
So we better thank Christine, because she's been here right from the beginning.
Thank you, Christine. I'll give you that right back. And you're an inspiration.
If you saw
well.
what I was trying to do before, and Meghan was going, "Hurry up, Michael," and it all was just not quite working right. It's working fine now, and we just said, "Let's do it," and it's all good.
Oh, we're here at Biblos. It's an amazing night. Thank you guys for joining us. This is the preview of what is to come for Australian Ninja Warrior. You're going to see us soon. There's going to be a lot of ninjas. We're going to give you our background story, and that's what counts. It's the people behind the show.